And we are live. Great. So hello everyone. I hope
Hello.
you guys are having a good Saturday. I have today with me the team behind Manifest Studios. So we have Rutaba, Elizay, and Jibran, and we'll be talking to them about the work that they do. We'll talk about Web 3.0. We'll talk about NFTs. So yeah, let's get into it. Welcome all of you, and please take your time and introduce yourselves and let us know about your education background, maybe, and what do you do at Manifest Studios.
Okay, so basically, I'll start off with myself, and then we can go and keep distributing this. So basically, I'm an ad film producer for almost 3 years now. I have produced ads for all local international brands that I've come my hands on with, and now I'm trying to build Manifest Studios because I've myself been an early adopter of crypto and Web3, and I have been a collector of NFTs and all of that. So I think this is pretty intriguing. And this is the time where we need to make this shift, and we really need to be, like own the piece of the internet. And Web3 brings these opportunity. So why not? So we decided to create this studios called Manifest Studios, which is basically going to be a supercharged agency that helps different Web3 projects from ideation to launch. And that's what we want to do. We basically want to supercharge the Web3 ecosystem with the pretty much all we have. We need to help people build their potential projects when it comes to web development, when it comes to like a lot of things from PR to marketing to ideation. So we really want to make sure that we enrich the Web3 culture in Pakistan, and with that we have an underlining ethos that we really want to make sure that we amplify the representation of women in tech. And I think that's pretty much it from what we want to do. Now I think we'll move on to Rutaba.
Hello everyone, my name is Rutaba Yaqub. I am one of the co-founders of Manifest Studios. I've been in the music industry and music business since over 10 years now. By my education, I'm a software engineer, but I'll tell you, I've never worked a single hour in my life after I graduated. I dove right into music business right after. And yeah, with Manifest Studios, I look at the roadmap strategy and the tribe aspect, which we'll further get into in a bit. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. Elizay, over to you.
Hi everybody, I'm Elizay. I am by profession, I am a mechatronics engineer, and I just graduated last year in July. So soon after my graduation, I was just looking at all the options I have and just like researching at what possible place could I pursue my career in. So I just came across Web 3.0 because of the buzzwords and the news and everything that was going on. So I just started looking up the internet about NFTs, about Web 3.0. And so I just like there and then I was like, okay, this is where I want to be, because there's so much opportunities here, and there's like everybody's like innovating and giving out their ideas. So that's how I ended up in Web 3.0. And then from there, I started my own project. It went by the Boss Girls. I just told about this idea I have with my friends. So I took them on board. So basically we launched this project by the name The Boss Girls. And now that we've launched our collection of 1K NFT PFPs. So I was just like taking a lot of looking at other projects, suggesting them strategies on how they can improve on their projects. And that's how I came across Jibran. And I heard about his story, about his project, and I was really interested to see the ethos behind his project and what he's working on towards empowering women in tech. That's like very close to my heart. I'm very much of an advocate of women empowerment myself. So that's what led me to join his team. I'm a director of operations at Manifest Studios. And yeah, that's all about me.
Thank you so much, Elizay. So all three question for all three of you. Maybe Jibran, you can start. That what does Manifest Studios actually do? So if you tell it to somebody who's not from tech and who doesn't understand Web 3.0 or NFTs, and if you want to explain it to them that this is what we do, how would you do that? You're muted.
Sorry, ma'am. So Web 3.0 is here and it's inevitable. So what do we do at Manifest Studios is we're basically an agency. We help you out if you're a potential artist or someone who want to create a project, or a potential business who want to like transition from Web 2.0 to Web 3.0, where where you can basically enlarge and sort of like magnify your businesses by giving people what they want. So what Manifest Studios does is it's basically an agency that helps you from ideation to launch. It helps you with the wisdom and the knowledge and all the expertise that are needed in order for you to build your own NFT collection, in order for you to create your own DAO system, in order for you to create your own any blockchain solutions. For example, I'm speaking to someone recently about transferring the medical records from the manual medical record system into a blockchain which can be accessed anywhere, and all those things. So with Manifest Studios, what we aim to do is we need to empower different businesses, NFT artists, collectors, and like different business owners, and make the transitions from Web 2.0 to Web 3.0.
Right. Rutaba, Elizay, anything you guys want to add?
I think in super layman terms, for someone who's not very familiar with what Web3 is or what NFTs are, I would say, like, for now, what Manifest is doing is trying to educate. It can be someone from any part of life. I think NFTs are applicable literally everywhere. That's kind of the magic of it. So we're in that phase also where we're trying to create awareness around what NFTs really are. But if you are someone who's already kind of familiar with the art world, I know in Pakistan we don't have that concept of actually buying paintings and art, even music in some aspects. But if you look around the world, these pieces of art, it could be in any form or shape, are super valuable. And with NFTs, the utilities of it are endless. And I know it sounds very, very complicated for someone who doesn't understand Web3. And that's where Manifest Studios kind of comes in. We are trying to help different sort of businesses and creators and artists to kind of understand how they can leverage the new world of NFT and kind of apply that to whatever they're doing in their life. So simply put, that's something that we're currently working on.
Right. So for example, if somebody comes up to you guys and say, okay, I have a bunch of art that I've made and I want to convert it into NFTs. So I'm assuming that you will be able to help the person, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So again, let's go to the next question. So initially, when you guys reached out to me, you told me about the NFT collection called Goddesses of Sun. And we had a conversation about women empowerment and how can this NFT collection help. So tell us a bit about that. What exactly is Goddesses of Sun and how is it related to women empowerment? Jibran?
I think I would like Rutaba to start on it because she really understands and feels for the NFT collection that we're launching. And I could also jump in, but I would really like Rutaba to take a lead on this and tell us about what Goddess of Sun is and how we've come up with it and why we're creating it.
So whenever someone asks me what Goddesses of Sun is, my first response is basically that it's Pakistan's first ever utility-based collection, which is led by women. Now there are like two major parts of that statement that I would like to explain. One is obviously utility-based NFTs, and the other part, which is it's woman-led. So let me start with the utility-based part. To be honest, when we kind of founded Manifest Studios, I was still not hands-on with NFTs, and Jibran, kudos to him, was someone who literally like held my hand and took me through it. And like that just kind of made me realize that I would want to be in that place where Jibran was, and actually like I would want to do the hand holding for other people as well, especially women who are still not familiar with this space, because to be honest, from the outside, it's very intimidating. It's so many technical words and buzzwords that honestly mean nothing. They mean the most simplest things you could think of, but just because because the influence of NFTs kind of started from the Western world, things kind of look complicated from the outside. So utility-based NFTs, what that means is there are two kind of major NFTs. One is collectible and one is utility-based. So collectible NFTs were are the most popular ones, which essentially means that any piece of art which could be an NFT, could be a collectible. So let's just say, for example, you go to an exhibition, an art exhibition, you see a piece of, let's just say we see the Mona Lisa in a museum, and that particular painting is just one in the whole wide world. Anyone who acquires that has that one collectible that is just his and cannot be replicated. That's basically what a collectible NFT is. And the other aspect of NFTs is utility-based NFTs, which is basically saying that this NFT has not just one, it could be multiple. This one particular NFT could have multiple kind of variations of it. And the holders of those NFTs will have perks. So similar to what the concept of Patreon is, where people kind of invest in what you're doing and then they get perks out of it. Now it's a little bit in Web3 space. That means that you buy an NFT for maybe an artist or a cause that you really believe in, and then in return they give you perks. So to give you an example, we recently started working on a music NFT for an artist, where the artist had an artwork, and there were some utilities attached to it. So the utilities were that the artist's fans who will buy the NFT can have a coffee with them. They can have a one-on-one kind of chat with them. They can have backstage passes to their next concerts. They can get early access to their music that's going to be coming out. So these kind of utilities are attached to that particular NFT, and doesn't have to be one of one. It doesn't have to be the one in the whole wide world. It could be multiple tokens, essentially, that people can buy and then have perks and utilities kind of attached to it. So that's what Goddesses of Sun is. It's the first utility-based NFT project that's woman-led in Pakistan. We will obviously disclose what the utilities and the perks are going to be related to Goddesses of Sun, essentially, in the future, but that's essentially the concept. And when I say woman-led, that doesn't mean that it's woman-led because I'm one of the co-founders, or Elizay in director of ops, or our executive team is just women. When I say woman-led, that's where kind of the tribe comes in. I think that's a question that you might also ask us later, but I can discover it now. Goddesses of Sun has a tribe of women linked to it. What that means is that that tribe of women is a group of super influential women in the entertainment industry, in the tech industry, any walk of life, who are the tribe leaders of this project. What that means is that they basically have faith in this project, and they are helping us drive the cultural relevancy of this project in Pakistan. We have some super big names that we'll disclose in the future as well. And if you go to our Instagram, you can already see some announcements around that. So that tribe is a stakeholder in this project. That means that they have the power to make decisions on which direction this NFT project goes to, what we do, what we don't do. 10% of the proceedings of our sales are going to go towards organizations that work towards women equity in any industry. So these tribe women, they get to pick who those welfare organizations are going to be. So basically, any step of the way, it won't be us who will be making the decisions. It'll be a democratic decision of the tribe women that we have on board to run the show, basically. So yeah, I know I've been talking for a very long time, but I thought this needs that kind of deep dive.
No, absolutely, absolutely. So, so we so a question. So let's talk about the objective first. So you talked about Goddesses of Sun and how you want to make it a utility based NFT. So my question is that why did you start working in NFTs, and that too for women empowerment? Is there any specific reason for starting a project like Goddesses of Sun?
So Elizay, want to take this?
No, it's okay. You can answer to this and I'll add on. Okay.
No, please go ahead. Please start.
Okay, so the objective behind GOS was basically all the activities that are being done in the Web 3.0 ecosystem. It's all remote. So given that, we've seen that many of the women here in Pakistan, we're not open to relocation, right? And for all of the opportunities that exist for women, it's like they have to be open for relocation. You know, it requires a lot of traveling for women who are interested in tech, right? So we've noticed that Web 3.0, it's like everything is remote. You can, let me tell you about some of the opportunities that exist in Web 3.0. You can hop into crypto trading. You can have your own NFT project or maybe invest in one and become a stakeholder, just like Rutaba said. And you can also, there are so many job opportunities in Web 3.0, like all of the NFT projects, they are severely understaffed right now because many of them have started, like there were a few friends, they had an idea in mind and they just started from there, right? So they're looking for people who can like get on board, who share the same ethos of the project which they've started. So they're looking for people who they can onboard, and they've like set up platforms. There are many Discord groups, there are Twitter platforms, like uncountable. There are platforms out there in the Web 3.0 ecosystem. So yes, there are job opportunities as well. And yes, so given that, we've seen that how it is more accessible for women. And even in like Web 3.0, what the best thing is that they're not gender specific. Whenever like I was also like applying for all these jobs in different NFT projects before starting my own. So they never asked me about, you know, you're a woman, so you might have other, other tasks to perform at home. So will you be able to take up this job? They've never questioned me that. So that was the thing that was like, that I highlighted and I really much appreciate about the ecosystem, that they're not gender specific, they're not age specific. They're just like, if you can do the job, you're in. All right. So yeah, that's the reason why we were like, okay, let's bring more women towards this crazy ecosystem and this like land of opportunities, you know, because we very much need that. Yeah, that's all from my side. Over to Rutaba.
Yeah, no, I think Elizay kind of explained it really well. And that's how it should be. Like nothing in the world, I believe, should be age or gender specific. But the reason for GOS is essentially to because even in Pakistan, right now, I'm not gonna name names, but one of the most popular crypto trading Facebook group is literally just men. And it's really intimidating for women in general. Also, I feel like if someone doesn't know about Web3, it's intimidating for them. So for women specifically, we just wanna, just we wanted to take this opportunity to just dive in head first and just take the space for us, rather than letting it be a male dominant kind of industry again and then stepping in because we want to claim that space. We're just doing it head first right now. So that's basically why we wanted to start with Goss.
Right. Jibran, a question for you. So if someone
Yeah.
doesn't know what is an NFT, how would you explain that?
I think NFT is anything that is one of one, that is just unique and that is non-duplicatable. For example, and I give this example to a lot of people because I've been asked this question a lot of times. First of all, the only question or the most occurring question is, it's a virtual thing, we can't touch it, how do we know, and all of those things. How do we know the importance of it, or how do we know the value of it? So to counter that question, that it is just a virtual thing and it's just a virtual JPEG or a PNG, what is the value does it bring? So I think on Instagram, when a brand is approaching a celebrity or an influencer, they only look at their blue tick, and that verified tick is basically just a virtual thing. It's literally virtual. You cannot touch it, but it has some value. It has a proposition to it. It has an added legitimacy, or some sort of credibility attached to it. So in the same way, when it comes to NFTs, when you mint an NFT or when there's an NFT, the only thing that makes it legible or that makes it credible is that it's being minted on the blockchain. And for me to define what an NFT is, imagine that I'm the person who bought Mona Lisa, and I put it in my drawing room, and I'm showing it off because I'm the owner of Mona Lisa. But some of my friends download like a high definition picture of it from Google and they place it in their own bedroom as well. But that again, that is just a copy, because on the blockchain you can know that Mona Lisa is owned by me, and whatever that is created, or whatever replication or reproduction of Mona Lisa that's been created, it's only a copy. So that's why I think right now there's a brand called Mulberry. They came into the blockchain ecosystem and they decided to somewhat stamp their handbags and their clothes so that the duplicates or the replicas could be eliminated from the market. So I think an NFT could be anything that is unique and that is non-duplicatable. For example, the newspaper on which the independence of Pakistan was announced, if I had access to that newspaper, I could NFT that. And a lot of other things, any physical, digital, anything that exists and that is non-duplicatable and you think it's unique and it's one of one, I think that's an NFT. It could be a song, it could be a meme, it could be a real estate building, it could be let's say a video, it could be literally anything, like a code for a smartphone app or anything.
Right. So how does investments in NFTs work? So if I want to identify a good project to invest in, what does it mean? And how do I identify that this project is good?
I think to begin this, I think Rutaba would be really interested to answer this question because she has been really looking forward to different projects to invest in as well, and she has done her due diligence. So she'll be able to counter this question in a better way.
Yeah, sure. I can start off, but Jibran, please feel free to chime in. Like any startup, I think, or anything. I'm giving an example of startup because startup usually has teams. Like when you're looking to invest into a startup, putting your efforts into a startup, even trying to see if you want to work for a certain startup, you always look at what their team looks like. And similar to that, it's a given that any NFT project has to have a huge cultural relevance and standing and credibility in the market before you jump onto it. So like anything in the world you're going to buy or invest in, you'll always see for certain things in that certain project has achieved so far. So for NFTs particularly, it's very important to see what kind of teams are behind that, what kind of people are working for that particular project. Do they really believe in what the project is really about, or is this just some sort of another business standing? that's your first main go-to. So like you need to research about who is the team that's behind that particular NFT. I recently bought an NFT that an artist that I really like, G-Eazy. He dropped a collection of tokens recently. For me, that's enough to say that this is going to be a big thing, because it's a big artist. For me, that artist is one of my favorites. So in some cases, you don't have to go and look at the teams behind the NFT. You just know because that certain NFT is associated with such a big entity, it's going to be something big. Like, for example, Marvel or DC's NFTs are like, it's associated with such a big brand that they will have certain credibility. But when you are looking at NFTs that are not associated with big names, and in that instance, I think you need to look at what the teams are doing behind them. And secondly, what their roadmap is. If there is actually a narrative that you believe in that's behind that NFT, or is it just something that an artist just drew up and just put it on just for the sake of selling it. I mean, there were a lot of kind of similar concepts like Bored Ape that really did not have any specific kind of narrative to it. It was just for the sake of putting an NFT online. So really look at what their roadmap looks like, what their ethos are, and what they really believe in is what you also really believe in. Yeah, those are the two things, in my opinion. And one, the most like common and given, is what it looks like. Honestly, like, if it's just like any piece of art that you're gonna buy, if it sounds or looks good, that's the first thing you'll obviously judge it on, and that counts to some extent as well. But I would really say that the narrative of the NFT and the teams behind it, and the communities they've built around it, are the most important aspect of picking what NFT you're gonna invest in. But
Right.
Jibran, please feel free to hop in or add anything if you want.
I think I'll quote the biggest name in the Web3 ecosystem, Gary Vee. Like he says it, that you never bet on the horse, you're always betting on the jockey. So whenever you're looking for an NFT project, there are two ways to, I think, look at it. Either you're looking for it to flip it, and you're investing into something that you want to make some money out of it, or you're just investing into something that you really vibe with, or you like the artist, or you want to be a part of the community. Because a lot of Web3 projects, when it comes to NFTs, have different utilities to offer. Some offer you some sort of accessibility, some offer you some sort of like networking rights, some sort of offer you, the governance right through the DAO system. Some just offer you, let's say the merge or other things. So when it comes to an NFT project that you really want to invest in, like Rutaba said, I think the team is something that you should really be looking at. Are there any past projects that they have done? Have they been in the NFT space for the longer time? What are their contribution towards Web3, or what kind of dev they're acquiring, or what kind of community they're building around it. And secondly, I think is community, which is also like correlated to the cultural relevance. Because if you have an activated and positively charged community, it obviously adds to your cultural relevance. Because if people are talking about you, you're obviously relevant. So I think that's another thing that you should look at. But I think another very important aspect that people are now looking at, because they're kind of like bored of just buying JPEGs or like digital art, as they call it, just for the sake of liking them. Now they're also looking at utilities. What kind of let's say, because like how we put it, what are the URL or the IRL utilities they're offering us? What is it offering us for us to have some sort of like value or like perks? For example, there could be an NFT collection by, let's say, an artist called Snoop Dogg, and if you buy that NFT collection, it gives you the access to a WhatsApp group with him, which is pretty charming for a lot of people, because they really get to be the lives of the people that they thought were untouchables or unapproachable, because they get a little closer to them. So I think it's a very interesting intersection between art and tech that NFTs are bringing. And there are a lot of ways to like vet a project, but I think team, community, and cultural relevance, and obviously the art are the two main, like are basically the four main pillars that people should be looking at when they're investing into the NFT projects.
Right. So a follow-up question to that, and I think you partially answered that. So when we say investment, it means we are looking for some sort of return. In some cases, it's a non-tangible return, just like owning a painting. You want people to know that you know about art and you can afford art. So it's just for, that kind of value,
Absolutely.
social value. And another one is that you're investing it because you want to make some money out of it. So how does that work? If someone wants to make money out of NFTs, do you have any tips for that, or anything that you want to add to that?
Okay, I think first of all, like the Web3 space or the NFT space is in such an infancy right now that nothing is tried and tested. You cannot say that this is gonna work because we see it every day. Like something blow up one day, but the next day it just tanks. So I don't think there's a definite answer as to like how one can be a part of this digital economy, like guaranteed. But there are many ways that are like proven or like that are used by a lot of veterans. And so I think first of all you need to identify different artists that that are coming up with a project, and that could happen with a lot of like resources or guides that are that are available online for you to look at. And once you're like familiar with the artist, you need to like really understand and really be a part of their Discord. So being a part of the community really gives you access. And what that access is, basically a lot of different NFT projects come up with like whitelist spots or allow list spots, or like a lot of spots for people to enter the pre-sale, which is absolutely slashed in price when it comes to the public sale. For example, if you're buying an NFT for let's say 1 Ethereum, in like a whitelist spot, you will get it for 0.01 Ethereum, which is an absolute like slash in the discount, so something like that. So if somehow you can hustle through and get into a project that you really believe in, of the project, of the artist that you really like, you should really get into the whitelist. And once you're part of the whitelist, it obviously like you can get that NFT for absolutely lesser price. And when the public sale goes, you can obviously flip it, sell it, do whatever you want, trade it. But on my recommendation, I always ask people to hold on to those NFTs because it on the longer run, a lot of NFT projects have a lot of great roadmaps, and you really want to be a part of those roadmaps. But when it comes to projects that that somehow look fluff and it's all hype, you think you should definitely trade and make some money out of it.
Right, got it. So let's go towards the next question. So I'm seeing a few questions also in the comment section and on Instagram also. So we'll get to them later on. Let's just go ahead with the questions. So you guys have already answered this question, but just for clarity, so is this space of NFTs is only for media? So when I say media, I mean JPEGs and PNGs and images, or other types of files or other types of art can also be included?
I think it's basically a space that is open to all. Like whatever business you have, whatever field you belong to, whatever your profession is, whatever you do, you can be an artist, you can be an accountant, you can be anything. I think NFTs and blockchain technology is applicable every single where. For example, we were just discussing, for example, in a place like Pakistan, where like, there are tons of opportunities because, there are a lot of like, there are a lot of opportunities for us to grow in terms of like new tech, because we're a little, behind when it comes to, like the progressive techs and all those things. So for example, for instance, if we talk about, let's say, land disputes, land disputes is a big thing that is, a part of our judicial system, and a lot of our energy and paper consumption and human force, and a lot of that is wasted into land disputes. So what if we apply blockchain to land disputes, or like land ownerships? I don't think it would be any less than revolution for the technology to be applicable into land disputes when it comes to Pakistan, because it would really sort of like simplify things for people, because the landowners' names could be minted on the blockchain and everyone would know this piece of land belongs to who. And that would really cut through, between a lot of waste that we do when it comes to like human resources or like, the court's time and all of those things. So this is just one example, but I think NFTs and blockchains are applicable literally in every field. And if you're listening to this and if you think it's not applicable to your field, we would really encourage you to like hit us up on our DM, and we would really like you to go through with us, and we'd really like to tell you like how you can transition your business or your professional outcomes into NFTs or blockchain.
Right, Rutaba. So, a piece of music, a piece of video, a piece of film, can they also become NFTs?
Yes. Like Jibran said, literally anything in the world, if you want to make sure that it's not replicable and it's unique, can be turned into an NFT. I personally am huge follower of music NFTs, and a lot of big artists is currently working on different kind of aspect of music NFT. So they pick some of their demos that they're not releasing publicly to be owned as music NFTs. Sometimes there are music videos associated to them, like BTS footage associated to them. Some of the big artists like The Weeknd are also doing NFT based ticketing for their tours. One of the great examples that I very recently heard, like I would say like a great utility of NFT that I recently heard was there's a winery in Santorini that produces wine in very kind of specific batches because it needs to be kind of aged over a couple of years. And what started happening was that they started making big batches of wine, and they started aging them over like a decade at least. And once that wine was ready, there were no buyers. And that wine was like super expensive. It was so costly to kind of age it and produce it and store it. For 10 years, it's a very long time. So what they started doing was they started giving out NFT tokens and started saying that if you buy this NFT token, that means you're essentially you can collect a wine bottle from their winery. So what that did for them was that they did not have to produce the wine bottles first and sell them after. They sold them first in form of NFTs, and then they produced how many NFTs. For example, let's say they sold like 30 NFTs for that wine bottle, and then they kind of saw that they have 30 orders now that could be collected from their winery. So now they'll go ahead and produce it and then sell it. So that was for their business essentially is a lifesaver. It could be applied to any business essentially. You, instead of producing, like if I want to sell my merch, instead of producing it first and selling it after, and then seeing that I didn't sell anything and there's no demand for it, I can kind of cater and gather what the demand is before I produce my merch. So I sell the NFTs and say that you can collect a merch if you buying one of the NFTs. That way I know how many NFTs I've sold and how many pieces of merch I have to kind of produce in order to cater to that demand. So I think this is a very simple kind of, in a very retail business model, this is a very simple application of NFTs. But yeah, to answer your question, NFTs could be in form of literally anything you can think of.
And also to add to that, I think another more progressive version of NFTs are coming in the form of cell-bound tokens. They're very new, and it's right now in the form of beta. But cell-bound tokens are something that once transferred to you, you cannot trade it, you cannot sell it. So you own it for your lifetime. And one of the greatest example of cell-bound token could be for example, you graduate from a university and the university could give you your degree in the form of a cell-bound token that that can never be transferred, that can never be traded, and you will always own that piece of degree. So I think the applications, or a lot of things when it comes to NFTs or other blockchain solutions, are applicable everywhere in the world, and essentially the possibilities are endless.
Right. So a question for you, Elizay. So how is this project related to Web 3.0?
GeoS, you're asking about GeoS, like how is that related to Web 2.0?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, what we're doing right now, I think Rutaba has mentioned this before as well, that we are educating the women and also men as well to help them make a proper understanding about all the opportunities that exist in Web 3.0, help them in crypto trading, and helping them understand how they can invest into NFT projects. That's what we're initially doing before launching our collection and our merchandise. We thought it wise to firstly, help people understand that how they can actually dive right into it without falling a victim to FOMO. That's what we talk about a lot. FOMO is like fear of missing out. Soon as you're in, you're like, okay, there are so many projects launching in at the same times, and it's difficult for you to follow up. So we're basically making this process easier for people. We're always giving updates about what's happening in the Web3 ecosystem to help them keep up with all of the fast-moving space, because that's what happens a lot here. That there's no day and night in Web 2.0. Everybody's like active 24/7. So that's how we're linked to Web 2.0.
Okay, Jibran, Rutaba, would you like to add to that?
I think another very important aspect is the enablement of the community. For example, if I talk about the roadmap and I give you a little sneak peek of a roadmap, one of the most amazing things that we're adding to our roadmap is the Ghost Residency program, through which we're going to be shortlisting a bunch of artists, and then we're going to be basically curating their entire journey and helping them come up with their own NFT collection. And we're going to do from everything for them, from PR to marketing. We're going to fund them, create those collections and all those things. So that's also like, sort of for the aspirational artists, that's also kind of a pat on the back, because, if you see some other artists making it, it also gives you like a sense of, a confidence boost or something like that. So I think the enablement part of, of really, for example, we're coming up with cost scholarships and, like a Web 3.0 employment opportunities. All these things are like really adding towards building an ecosystem and enriching, like, really the lives of people who could really benefit off the Web3. They just don't know it yet,
Right. So because we have like only 8 minutes left, so just quickly let's cover the idea about tribe leaders. What exactly are they, and can a woman apply to be a tribe leader for your goddess collection?
Yeah, I think I covered the tribe part a little bit before, but to basically the gist of it is that a tribe is a group of women that are driving the cultural relevance for Goddesses of Sun NFT collection. And what that means is that we have curated a tribe of women from tech, women from entertainment industry, from music, from every walk of life, who have a knack for connecting tech to entertainment or whatever field they're working in, and they're very passionate about learning about Web3 and NFTs. And they are helping us drive the promotion and relevancy of this NFT project. I won't, if you go to our Instagram, like I said, you'll find a lot of announcements that we've already made of the tribe leaders that we already have on board. What they essentially do for us is that they educate people that they know, fans and the community that they have around them, around what NFTs are, what Web3 is, what Goddesses of Sun is. So they are equal stakeholders in this project as we are, as the founders or executives or the people working for this project, because 10% of the proceedings of the sales go to them, 10% of the proceeding go to welfare organizations that work towards women equity in any industry, and these tribe women are the ones who pick those welfare organizations. There's a voting system. Any decision we make on the direction of what's going to happen with the NFT project is also something that we run by them, and they have equal say in what the strategy is going to be for Goddesses of Sun particularly. And when you ask if someone can apply to be a tribe leader, yes, for sure, we're open to having that conversation. Although as of now, we're trying to very carefully curate that group of women because we're very initial stages, and we have to make sure that we involve people who are actually very passionate about Web3 in general and Goddess of Sun and what it stands for. Having said that, we're really open to meeting people who are interested in becoming the tribe leader, and then putting them on the list and seeing at what point would it be wise to add more women to the tribe. But that does not mean that you cannot be a part of the community that we have on Discord. There's a separate channel for tribe in there where you can have active conversation with our tribe leaders as well as us. And in the future, this is a long game for us. And I would not say that no one can be a part of the tribe unless we say so. But if you interact with us, if we have a good conversation, understanding, and we see that you add value to the project and we can add value to your life as well, for sure, like, why not?
Right. So, last two questions. When is this NFT collection launching? And can people buy it? And second is, how can people reach out to you?
I think when it comes to this NFT collection, we are launching our Twitter and our socials of Goddesses of Sun along with a amazing promo, in a week's time or something. And the collection would also be available for buying. But we're just waiting for our community to show us some love. And as soon as we know that we have hit that sweet spot, I think we'll be ready to launch it. I mean, right now, as per our design team and all the R&D that we've done, we're ready to launch. We're just trying to activate our community and build that space into the Pakistani ecosystem so that, so it's just not us. Whenever someone launches an NFT collection, that they know that, there's a huge market here out in Pakistan. And how can they buy it, or like, can people buy it? Absolutely. And so just to give you a little background on what Goddess of Sun would launch as, is basically Goddess of Sun is a $9.99 avatars. And so basically people can buy it, and we're launching it in 3 phases. We're going to be launching 333 into, 3 different seasons. So the first launch of ours is going to be 333 avatars. And I think it's going to be a quick sellout. So we would really like people to, hop onto the ship as soon as they can. And how they can reach out to us is they can join our Discord. The link is given into our, Instagram. They can follow us on our socials and be updated with all the news. But I think Discord is the best place to be, because I think most of the news before it goes onto Instagram or Twitter, it lands into this Discord, because that's the place where we're trying to build a community of people who are also like very much equipped with the NFT space or the Web3 space. So they know that Discord is the place to be,
Right. So I'm seeing a few questions on social media. I'm also getting messages on Instagram. I was checking it out. I'll relay all the questions to you guys, so maybe you can answer them over Instagram and directing them to your socials. But I think Zoha just mentioned about the safety measures that you guys have in place. So maybe explain it a bit, that how safe is it for someone to get into this space?
So I think, for example, another community project that we're building is called Awareness Portal. It's live, and I will share the link with the audience as well. it just went live like yesterday. With that awareness portal, what we're doing is we're telling people in the simplest form, what is a blockchain, what are the NFTs, what, how are different buzzwords when it comes to, let's say the Web3 space or the NFT space, how do we tackle that? And with that, we're also making people aware of how you can look at the red flags when it comes to NFT projects. What are some of the safety rules that you should not connect your wallet to any unsolicited links or websites, how you should always use a burner wallet when you're minting from, let's say, a new website or something like that. So there are like a lot of other things that that are presented in those safety guidelines that we have, and that's how we're creating this system called awareness portal, which is what we're calling it is, this is for the community and by the community, because we really encourage all the community members to like join in. They can offer us any kind of help when it comes to, it could be writing, it could be editing, it could be proofreading, or anything like that. Elizay has like mentioned the links in the chat, so you could share it with your audience as well, so that they can also be, they can also take the benefits of this awareness portal that we're creating, and get a hands-on and the first-hand, advice on how to navigate through the Web3.
Right, got it. So I'll add them to the to a pinned comment. Thank you so much, Elizay. Thank you so much, guys. We are right on time, even though I have a lot of messages that I wanted to go through. But again, it's a Saturday, and we usually tend to lose audience after an hour. So it's better that we call it right now. Thank you so much for your time, Rutaba, Jibran, and Elizay. Really excited for seeing what you guys are up to, and wish you all the best for whatever you do.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was amazing being here, and thank you for having us. I think it's always great to talk about projects that we're passionate about.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And please feel free to share the link with your audience also. We'll keep it pinned on our Facebook page and within the community also for a couple of months, so that people can take a look at it and maybe join you guys on the call.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye.